Churchill once said, "Success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Read that again in your mind. Not success, not failure. Courage. The courage to continue. Yet, in classrooms, workplaces, and even in our daily lives, one silent enemy haunts us: the fear of failing. It stops us before we even begin. It convinces us that mistakes are a big disaster instead of lessons. It whispers, "Don't try, what if you fall?" And today I am here to answer that whisper, because it is lying to us. Hi, I am Ridain Fatma. I study in grade 8A. I grew up here in Hyderabad, surrounded by the people who wanted me to succeed. People who deeply cared about my grades, about my ranks, about my results. And because of that love, I learned something very early. Failure felt like shame. I remember preparing for an exam, staying up late, and memorizing everything I could. But on the morning of test, one thought wouldn't leave my mind. What if I fail? What will people think if I fail? That fear made me more anxious, more than the paper itself. And I realized the fear of failure had become more damaging than the failure itself. Failure is not opposite of success. It is a part of success. Every great scientist, leader, and thinker we admire today, they failed. Often, repeatedly, publicly. But they did not let fear become a reason to stop. When we fear failure, we limit ourselves. We stop trying new things, we avoid risks, and settle for less. But the moment we start accepting failure as a teacher, we grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. Let's take the example of Thomas Edison, as he failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. But when a reporter asked him, he said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." See, he did not see failure as an ending. He saw it as a data, as a progress, as information. He was not a superhuman. He was a person like us in this very room. But he chose again and again to try once more. So I urge all of us, students, teachers, and parents, to change how we see failure. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" let us ask, "What will I learn if I fail?" Parents, encourage efforts, not just the results. When your child comes home disappointed, ask them, "What did you try today?" Not just, "What did you score today?" Students, if you stumble in a test, take it as a lesson, not a label. Your grades does not define your worth. Your effort does. Failure is a very natural thing. It is human. It is something we all have felt. But it must never become permanent, because failure does not describe us, our response to it does. Thank you.